All right, welcome to NorCal Sports pregame edition of Game 2 of the Los Angeles Dodgers and the San Francisco Giants. NorCal Sports welcomes Marty Lurie. Welcome, Marty.
Danny, it's great to see you. It's a good time of year for baseball. Boy, coming up to the trade deadline, it's always very exciting. Are you going to do it? Not going to do it? Who's your team and all that kind of stuff. And there's no football yet. No real basketball going on now, no football yet. So this is baseball's little window to kind of be exciting. And I think if you look at the attendance coming out of the break, a lot of people going to ball games. And of course, we saw it last night in LA, 49,000 last night for the Giants and Dodgers. So it's a good time for baseball, I think.
Absolutely. Even in Colorado over the weekend, they had a pretty packed house for those three games. Yeah. In fact, I was supposed to head out there myself on the wife and I were going on the 19th, the first game out of the break. And then we got a little bit of sickness during the week. So we had to unfortunately cancel our trip. But, it's a exciting time of the year. We're entering into the dog days of summer, as they call it. And why do they call it the dog days? Because
no days off.
No days off, and guys are tired, and pitchers are tired, and especially the Giants, who have the most used bullpen in all of Major League Baseball. So, again, we're coming to you pre-recorded before the Giants-Dodgers game. This is just on the eve of the start of Game 2. Before we get into just the Giants and kind of a thumbnail sketch of where the Giants are, let's talk a little bit about tonight's game and your thoughts and what do you think is going to happen? And what do you think?
Well, I said over the weekend on my show that I thought coming out of the break, the Giants should take Jordan Hicks and put him in the bullpen now.
Amen.
Not wait around, because what I saw going into the break in the Minnesota series, which they were lucky to get 2 or 3, and Toronto, they're lucky to get 1 in that Toronto series. A lot of it was bullpen trouble. Walker looks tired. Both Rogers don't look the same. So I thought coming out of the break, just go to Hicks and put him in that 8th inning and make a move with Luke Jackson, who I think is really, his shelf life for me is over. You just can't rely on him and not put the pressure on the kid, Randy Rodriguez. So I'm a little disappointed to see Hicks starting tonight.
Yeah.
And they're using him. I preferred to see an opener tonight rather than Hicks pitching. But Hicks is going to go tonight, and I would hope this would be his last start. He's 0-5 in his, last 7 or 8 starts. And we've seen it. We saw him in spring training. You and I were certainly down there in Scottsdale. And, I thought he was the best pitcher I saw in all of spring training. He was fabulous.
Right.
Of course, as the season has worn on, because of his inning limit, he's never exceeded, 65 or 70 innings.
Yeah.
He's past that now. And the kid says it. Kid says, I'm tired.
Yeah.
So that's what we have going tonight. We have Hicks going tonight. And then afterwards, I hope he does go into the bullpen. But we'll
it's interesting, Marty. They said they interviewed him after his last start, and he said he was just a little tired. I thought the Giants, with their need for more arms, it was the perfect time to put him on the IL, because you get the 4-day break over the All-Star. It's not games, it's days. And he could have been on the IL right now, come back around this weekend when they face Colorado with a much, extra 5-6 days of rest and go right to the bullpen. And they didn't take advantage of that. They could have just said it's a tired arm.
Well, I don't think they can wait. See, I don't. They cannot wait. That was my point. The break, there's no experimenting now.
Right.
You can't fool around. You can't say, all right, well, Hicks will bring you back in 10 days. No, he's got to deal with it now. So I thought he should be in the bullpen today.
I think he should be in the bullpen, but I think he should have just had a little extra rest and then said, okay, you're going.
I think they need him in the bullpen. They need
They
that.
do need him. You're correct there.
They need that right-handed relief. Look, we saw what happened last night with Rodriguez. He throws it straight. He throws great. It's fast, but it's right over the plate.
Yeah, you
And
can't fool big league hitters with
Hernandez, he had to see a few, but after he saw a few, boy, he
yeah,
was on the last one and just crushed it up the middle.
right.
So, they lost 2 or 3 to Colorado. So I think coming out of the break is where I would have made that move because you can't afford to lose now. These are games you got to win.
Right. They are now 48 and 53, right?
Yep, 48 and 53. And I'm looking at the wild card standings. Again, we'll say this all year long. We'll be saying this in the middle of September. Gee, one good week and they're back in it.
Right.
That's just the way this is going.
There's the wild card standings right
Yeah,
there.
I mean, I think all 3 wild card. Yeah, there you go. I think all 3 wild card positions are up for grabs. I think the Braves have really, really had a lot of injuries, and I've said this 2-3 months ago. This Brave team just didn't look the same to me without
Right.
Strider, without Acuna. Now Albies is out, and the catcher was out for a while. So they're in it. But the real problem is there's so many teams in it with them.
Right.
And every day they all can't lose.
Correct.
Some of them have to win every day because they're playing each other.
Yeah.
So what they have to do is they have to just keep winning.
Right.
And
right.
You can't look at the standing. You just got to keep winning, which is something they don't do.
Yes. A great friend of your show, and you know him well, and he's been a friend of this show, Ned Coletti. Yeah. He says, you're 4 games out, but you've got to climb over 4 or 5 other teams. So that's not really a true 4 games out.
That's right.
And it makes it much more.
Everyone's not going to lose every day.
Exactly. So it makes it much more difficult. And, getting back to Jordan Hicks, Marty, here on NorCal Sports, I was excited. I was calling for the signing in the offseason of Jordan Hicks. I did not expect him to be a starter. When they signed him, I thought, sign him and make the most dominant back end in bullpen in baseball. You put the Rogers brothers, Walker, Hicks, and Duvall, that's a tough to get through. And I felt that when they started him, I said, he's probably going to do well, but he's going to fizzle because he hasn't pitched that many innings. And my biggest fear is that they would overuse him in the first half, and he wouldn't be effective in the second half, even as a reliever. So hopefully his arm is strong enough. I'd love to see him get in the pen and start seeing that 100 to 103 again, where, he was holding back rightfully. So you can't throw 100 every pitch as a starter. You're going to wear down after 2 or 3 innings. But my concern going into tonight's game is that he's tired, and I said this, the Giants are catching the Dodgers at the wrong time because the Dodgers were flailing at the end of the second half, and they pretty much played 500 ball for about the last 6 weeks, and they lost a lot of games leading up to the break. And I said, they're not going to be happy coming out of the break. They're a focused team. They are a championship or bust team. And I think they're going to get hot. And they've won 4 in a row out of the break. All 4 of them have been come from behind. I'm a little worried tonight that the bats wake up for the Dodgers, and it's more something like a 7-2, 7-3 victory. I hope I'm wrong, but that's kind of what I'm seeing.
Well, Hicks generally gives you a good game. He generally gives you 4 or 5 innings of solid ball. Jelly will come in behind him today for sure. Both Rogers brothers are available today. Walker, of course, pitched last night. So I think they know they have to go out tonight and win a game. So it'll be all hands on deck tonight. But I think Hicks can give you the 4 or 5. The Dodger offense is not the same. Let's face it, without Muncy in there and, without Betts in there, it is just not the same. I don't care what you say. Lux has been hot.
Yeah,
Lux
Lux
is
has been
bad.
hot.
I saw this about, maybe 4
Player
weeks
of
ago.
the week last week, wasn't
Yeah,
he?
yeah. Well, I saw it about 4 weeks ago. I said to myself, boy, Lux is starting to look like the hitter they thought he would be. He was going to hit 350. He was, one of
Right.
the guys. He's starting to hit a little bit. They still give you trouble. Hernandez is having a season. Will Smith will pepper that right side, right center. He's going to hit one out there. Otani, Freeman. You got to deal with him. But I think Hicks can give you a game. He can. Now, you'd rather see a lefty against the Dodgers because that neutralizes Freeman and Otani to some
Yeah.
extent. You'd like to be able to do that.
I think Otani goes deep tonight. Just a gut feeling.
I think he'll steal a base tonight.
Oh,
They
Jordan Hicks.
Hicks. I don't think Hicks. I think they're 15-0 or something on
Wow.
bases
Yeah.
against
Yeah.
Hicks. My money is on Otani to steal a bag tonight. But the Dodgers are not great right now. Their bullpen is really beat up, like the Giants. Here we are. It's July 23rd, and we have a bullpen that's already pitched over 400 innings.
Mm,
We've only played 101 games, and they've got averaging 4 a game. Now, of course,
right.
that's using openers, so you got a lot of bullpen innings there. But we know they play a lot of close games, and in every close game, the same guys come in,
Right.
and they're all on a pace to pitch into 80 games, and that's a problem. So, getting back to the earlier thing about Hicks, the blueprint, I think, with him was to kind of scale him back around this time because they did know they had Snell coming. They thought he would be an effective part of the rotation, and Robbie Ray and Cobb coming along, and they thought they had Keaton Wynn there too. So they had a lot of pitching, and I think they said, "All right, let's use Hicks, and we'll see how far we can go with him." The one thing about pitching that I always say, once you hit the wall, I don't care how much rest you get, you ain't coming back. And I
Right.
don't think Hicks has hit the wall yet. That's why I say I'd like to see him in the bullpen now. These 4 or 5 innings that he can give you in this start and maybe the next, those 10 innings I'd rather see out of the bullpen. I don't see the Dodgers running over the Giants tonight. I think the Giants have at least the left-handed lineup in there tonight. They've got Yastrzemski in there tonight. Estrada's back in, of course. Soler is leading off. You got Wade. Then you go to Bailey, who hits better from the left side. Conforto. Well, I'll tell you, a lot of this is Conforto for me.
Yeah.
And, we'll get into that, but he's the veteran. Come on, this is a guy making 18 million. Throw a bat, throw your helmet, do something. And then they pinch hit for him with Matos. Come on, Matos is like 3 for 40. And the game was on the line last night, and Vesia was in there, first and third, 1 out. Here's the veteran Conforto. Yeah, it's lefty. Okay, I got it. But come on, Conforto knows what to do in that situation. Just get the ball in play somewhere, and you're going to get a run.
Right.
And they went to Matos, and he just had no chance against Vesia. So that was bad. So this is a weird time for the Giants because as we said, they're very much in it. But then again, when you look at the games, the way they play, you don't feel real good about the baseball they're playing.
Right. And I'm just looking at tonight's lineup, as you were mentioning. Soler, Wade, Ramos, then Bailey in the cleanup, Chapman, Conforto, Fitzgerald, who's been hot, Yaz, but then Estrada batting ninth. Where is Brett Wisely against the right-handed pitcher?
Well, Wisely, I guess they gave him his chance, so to speak. Estrada, look, he's their second baseman. And I think it's more Wisely Fitzgerald at short. I don't think they're ready to turn over second base to Wisely. Estrada got a couple of days to recharge a little bit and see if he can't get it going. But he's really their second baseman.
Yeah. Now, one of the things that I called for at the beginning of the year, especially when they were, I looked at this offense and said, it's going to struggle to score runs. I like Tyler Fitzgerald in the role of super utility man. Play short one day, play second, play center field, play left field. Treat him like Chris Taylor. he should be playing, in my opinion, 4 to 5 games a week because he can make things happen with his speed. And this team lacks so much speed. And Fitzgerald has some power. We're seeing it. I mean, I don't think he's a guy that's ever going to hit 25 plus homers, but he might be a 17 to 20 home run guy if you let him play. That's a productive guy in the middle of the, somewhere in this Giants lineup. I really want to see the Giants play the younger kids. And I want to get your take on this. We're coming up. We've got, 9 games left before the trade deadline? Is it 9? Let's see.
Got, 3 here.
3 and 4.
Weekend,
7. You got 7. You're down to 7.
Tuesday is
trade deadline. Yeah, Tuesday's the deadline, but they don't play the A's until the deadline's over. So the deadline comes a couple hours before, the first pitch Tuesday night against Oakland. So you've got these 7 games. You're 5 under. Let's say they go 3 and 4 here, 4 and 3 in these next 7. What do you do? Do you go for that third wild card and say, hey, we can maybe squeeze in with our pitching back healthy, with a full 5-man rotation? Or do you say, let's rebuild this thing. Let's move off some of our veterans and see if we can plug in some guys that are ready to step up, that are either at the AAA level or on some big league roster because they are somebody's top prospect? What do you do, Marty?
Well, I don't think you have guys who you can really trade off the team. I said maybe Duvall. That's someone that, would have some value in the market as a relief pitcher. And I think he's been so shaky this year that, it may be time to move on from him. But look, this rotation, we saw it last night. They really should have won the game last night. That
Correct.
was the game. Matos really is just over his head. And, he gets in left field and he messes Ramos up in center field. The ball dropped. Now Rodriguez is pitching in the 8th inning. I mean, this starting rotation really should be very good here over these next 61 games, whatever is left. Snell was terrific last night. And
Snell looks good.
That's the way he pitched. And Logan Webb will give you the Logan Webb, whatever it is. It's not perfect, but he'll, keep you in the game. Then you have, of course, Ray. We'll see what he can do on Wednesday. Then you got Birdsong, who really pitched really well, with 12 punch-outs on Sunday, and he's not intimidated at all, and he throws strikes, and he does a good breaking ball, and he pitched well in Colorado, so you got him. Then you have the Hicks situation, and you do have Cobb coming back. I think that starting rotation, if they had players on the field that were having seasons, other than, Chapman, who has his WAR is 2 or 3, whatever it is. If you had 4 or 5 players like that, or 6 players like that, with that rotation, that's pretty good. It's pretty good. So what do? I play it out. I would move Jackson. I would try to get a right-handed reliever in there, whether it's from the minor leagues. They brought a guy up, Bauman, who they just picked up.
Right.
He's picked around Seattle, Baltimore, all over the place. Who knows what he's going to do? But I'd like to get rid of Jackson. I'd like another right-handed reliever. And then I'd like to see the Tommy Pham type outfielder, someone who can platoon with Yastrzemski or play right field every day. And to do that, if that meant giving up things from the farm system, I would do it. And the other thing I would do, I'd bring Luciano up. I would bring him up, and I'd try to. I think Flores' day is.
Yes.
And I think Flores can help a contender. He's got a good pedigree, and he's a clutch player, a nice guy. And I would try to move Flores for whatever, but that spot on the roster I would give to Luciano, and make Luciano a little bit of what you just said that you want to do with Fitzgerald. He could play short, he could play second, he could play left, he could play first. and I would give that bat a chance to do something because I think they need a right-handed bat. So I would play it out. I really would, but I would make my moves now. That's my point in this. I would not wait until Tuesday, until the frenzy of all the teams trying to do stuff. I would try to make my move now and win these games. Like you say, the Dodgers are vulnerable right now.
Yeah,
Dodger bullpen, you talk about the Giant bullpen, the Dodger bullpen is a mess too.
true. It very much is. And
Phillips can't pitch to lefties anymore. They got Hudson now in there. They've got Trinan, who's been out for a couple of years. They've got Banda in there. They've got names that who are these
yeah,
people?
they
And their
look
running
similar
rotation
to
is no picnic either. They had a kid last night who made his major league debut and, of course, looked good, as every
yeah,
Dodger kid always does. And they got
right.
Knack pitching today. And, we'll see where we're going. Kershaw's coming Thursday.
Yeah, and
And
Glasnow tomorrow, and
Kershaw's 3 innings. He's
yeah,
gone. You know that.
right. Yeah, their bullpen is taxed. But hey, speaking of young pitching that the Dodgers had last night, how about Hayden Birdsong on Sunday
Yeah.
in Colorado? 12 strikeouts. This kid has got a lot of poise.
Yep.
I really like his stuff. I like his demeanor.
There's no reason to think he should not make every rotation start right now.
Yeah, I think
Why wouldn't you start him now after what you've seen out of him? He's kept you in every game he's pitched.
right. He's done well. He's got that tenacity. He wants to finish it. You could see it on him. He's very frustrated when he doesn't get the job done. And I love seeing that poise, that character that he has of just the fighter mentality. He reminds me, I wouldn't say his stuff's as good as Timmy's, but he has that confidence. It looks like that Timmy had at this early age, and I think he's got some good stuff. And he's gonna, he's probably their number one starter right now as far as value, and that's one of the minor leaguers.
Well, the key win is he's still hurt. I mean, they shut him down again. His elbows. Who knows where that's going? Wisdom Hunt, they have not chosen to bring up yet. They keep bypassing him for some reason, so he must not be ready. But yeah, Birdsong. Heck, Wotus told us when I asked Woe when he first saw him when he came up from Richmond to Sacramento. I said, "Whoa, what do you think?" He said, "That's major league arm."
Yeah,
so major league arm. He said it to me when he was at Sacramento, and the kid has grown up. And I had him on the show 2 weekends ago. Nice kid.
Yeah,
nice kid. Very nice.
He looks like a great kid. Yeah. I'm about to bring up something. We're talking about trades and what the Giants can do. And you said earlier they don't have much of the major leagues that they can trade. You mentioned Duvall. You might get something a little bit for Conforto, not much. But they don't have a lot of guys that have high trade values. And this is going to sound controversial. And if Logan Webb is watching, I apologize. I love Logan Webb. He's one of my favorite Giants. He's a leader. I love the kid. But I think he's the best opportunity to get the Giants some value, and bring some strong young players back to start this. The Giants have to choose, in my view, a direction. Right now, it appears to me that they've been driving down the middle lane. They've not been in the fast lane. They've not really been in the slow lane like a Colorado or a Miami or the White Sox, who, they're in a rebuild. The Giants try and, just hit it just right, just to see and everything has to go perfect for them just to make the third or second wild card. That's not what the San Francisco Giants should be, in my opinion. This is a top 5 franchise in baseball and should be competing for 90-plus wins every season. And so here's the trade. I'm going to show you a trade that I have put on this show many times, and it's with the Baltimore Orioles. Did I lose it? I think I did. I had it up and I lost it. It went away. So No, there it is. There it is. I didn't just go far enough. Okay. So here's the trade. Logan Webb and Camilo Duvall. You could see the values equal 104. Just to give you an idea, the value of some players in the league is close to 200 based on their age and their how much control they have, or if they're signed to a contract. And if vice versa, if they're signed to a bad contract, their value is not too good. So I'm looking at Webb and Duvall with 104, and the Giants could get Kobe Mayo, a young power hitting first baseman with the Orioles, Heston Kjerstad, who's up now with the Orioles, Connor Norby, who's blocked at second base by Westbrook with the Orioles, and then a young pitcher, Luis De Leon. And why do I propose this is because I don't think the Giants are going to be competitive, Marty, for the next 2 to 3 seasons, at least, because they don't have much coming up from the minors. Bryce Eldridge, their number one prospect, is 2 minimum years away, most likely 3. You're probably looking at the 2027 season. Where's the prospects there? And then they have to fill in each year with the second tier or lower free agents, because the top free agents, hitters, choose elsewhere, and they can't get any controllable bats to come here. Matt Chapman is on a opt-out. If he finishes the season well, he's likely to opt out. If he has a poor finish to the season, he's likely to opt in. And now you're blocking further prospects like a Casey Schmidt. I think the Giants need to look at, say, let's go in this direction, or you either go with the youth or you just way overspend for stars. I mean, like way overspend. For example, you offer Soto $200 million more than anybody else. The Giants have the money, but if they're offering the same what's in the rest of the top tier teams are offering, if they're in the same ballpark, we know they're not choosing San Francisco. They've got to overpay. So pick a lane is what I'm saying. What do you say to that?
Well, I like the idea. You know, it's bold, and I grew up in the Bay Area watching, Billy Beane make trades, and of course the Giants would make trades all the time, and the A's would do stuff. So I like the idea of making trades. I like that. I have to say, what do they look like next year? Okay. Let's put Wade at first. Let's keep him there. Now, there's a good chance he's going to go somewhere else. First base is going to be open. And maybe a Pete Alonso, where you could overpay to get him to come here. But all right. Second base, you probably, Strata probably is gone. So second base is the Luciano Wisely, if that's who your guys are. Shortstop is wide open, but it's probably Fitzgerald. I think Chapman stays. So that's kind of what you're looking like in an infield, which is not great. Right. Bailey is your catcher, and you really don't have a second catcher to go with him, but he's wearing down already.
Excuse me there.
Bailey's wearing down already. Even though he's getting his hits here and there, he's not hitting with much power at all. So they're going to need a second catcher. But Bailey be your catcher. Then it becomes interesting for me in the outfield, because you do have Ramos, and you're hoping that this little slide he's on right now, and he's a little different player than he was a month ago. We know that. And this is his first time of really making things happen. What's he going to be like next year? Then you got Lee back in center, who looked like he can play ball. He's a good center fielder, and you don't know what you have in right. So to do what you're proposing, I like it. But I think next year, if you fill in a little bit on the spots that I'm talking about, your pitching is pretty good. It's actually pennant-winning sort of competitive pitching if you keep Webb and you keep Snell, who's, I don't think he's going there anywhere, but you have him for a full season.
Right.
You had Robbie Ray for a full season. and you have Hayden Burnsog, let's say, for a full season, and then you have Hicks still. If you don't put Hicks in the bullpen and you try to start him again, that's 5 pretty good starters.
Did you mention Harrison too?
I haven't mentioned Harrison.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So you don't even need Hicks in that rotation. So that's 5 really good. I mean, that's maybe the best starting 5 in baseball.
Yeah, it would be a good starting 5.
Let me finish. Then you put Hicks into the bullpen, and you can get bullpen guys. Bullpen guys, you shake a tree and they fall out because you want 98 to 100, and you find guys who can do that. So the bullpen's still pretty good. So if you traded Duvall now for maybe 2 of the kind of players you're talking about, if you can get something like that, if you put Duvall in with Wisenhunt and maybe another top-tier minor leaguer or another top-tier minor leaguer to get maybe 1 or 2 of those back from the Orioles, I think you're ready to go next year. I think you only have to fill a couple of positions next year.
There's a possibility they could do something there. I mean, they're going to have to.
Duvall, Duvall, you lose Webb, you're losing the leader of your team.
That's why I say it's a hardest thing to let go of.
Well, it's not letting go of him. It's just that you need him. You need that spirit.
Yeah, I agree. The only thing I say to that is they're like 7 or 8 and 14 or 15 in his starts this year.
Yeah,
he's great. He's Logan Webb, but he's not. He's not Steve Carlton with the 73 Phillies.
People are. He's not Bumgarner. He's not Lincecum. He's more like a Matt Cain, really, something like that. He's an all-star. He leads the league in innings pitched. He does everything. The starting rotation, thank you for adding Harrison, is solid. I think the bullpen is relatively solid. Even without Duvall, you can make Hicks your closer if you want out of the bullpen. Conforto's going to be gone. Yastrzemski's going to be gone. Estrada will be gone. I think if you move Wade now, you probably could get something for Wade. I think, I would move Wade now because I think Wade doesn't look happy to me. There's something about Wade. I don't know what it is, but there's something going on with him, and he's not really hitting with any power either.
He doesn't. Yeah, he's not. The powers.
I like the trade idea. Webb would be a little dramatic for me.
It would be tough, but I think the Giants.
Duvall is not impossible, and I would do it now, not on the off season, because let's face it, there's so many teams in this thing, and the Orioles need a closer desperately.
Yeah, it reminds me the trade when I talk about Webb, it would kind of remind me a little bit of the trade that Brian Sabean first made with Matt Williams.
Not really.
I mean, you got Jeff Kent, who you still
had, Barry Bonds there.
Yeah, you had Bonds, and
you still had your team there.
Yeah, you had some stars there.
But Matt Williams, it was a big deal, but he was not the heart of the team. But I understand your point, and they called him an idiot, and Brian Sabean said, "I'm not an idiot." And Jeff Kent and Julian Tavares, and the other pitcher, I forget his name.
Was Jackson in that deal? Mike Jackson, or was that
the right-hander? I forget his name.
Oh, Dave Burba.
Yeah,
Dave Burba.
So they got people back who turned out to be pretty good.
Yeah. I mean, it was a bold move.
Look, this is not an easy answer. But I think you got to do so. My point is, you're going to have a really good rotation here for the last 60 games, and you've got a lot of arms, and just don't overuse them. Get some legitimate reinforcements, but it's the team on the field that is just not clicking.
Right.
As much as we love Fitzgerald and give him his shot here, when it's Bailey hitting fourth, come on, Bailey's hitting fourth, and then Porto can't do anything right. And Chapman is terrific, but 95, neutralizes him. As I said with Wade, Ramos has slowed down. I don't know. That team on the field, they make mistakes, and they just don't hit. They just don't hit. But that's the thing with baseball today.
Right.
They don't have those. They just don't have enough for me in the meat of the order to make it happen. I just
You know,
don't see it. So
think about this: what the Giants have to do to probably squeeze into the third wild card. I think it's last year it was 84 wins. Probably going to take somewhere right around that.
yeah,
They're going
80,
to have to play. They're going to
80,
have to play 590 ball and
yeah,
go 36-25 in the
right.
final 61 to win 84 games.
Very hard.
And we haven't seen anything close to that.
Well, and the other team, what's St. Louis going to do? They, no who's really going to play that kind of ball in this whole crowd.
Right. And
You
they
know,
play each other so much too, so they're going to beat each other up.
yeah. It's one of the most unusual pennant races I've seen in my whole life. Usually I remember the American League in 1967. There maybe were,
Oh,
even
yeah.
out of the 10 teams, 5 of them going into the last few weeks, 5 of them were still in contention. I mean, the Tigers
Right.
were still in there, Minnesota, Boston, the Orioles probably. Who else? I forget in '67.
Yeah.
I mean, the White Sox.
Yeah.
And they all were going down the stretch.
Well, that was before division play, so whoever won went to the World Series.
Yeah, you had to win. And this thing, because baseball has increased the playoffs, to 12 teams, that everybody's got a shot.
Right. How do you feel about the third wild card?
I like it. Why not?
Yeah, I'm not a fan of it. You know why? I feel like it's fool's gold. It worked well for Arizona last year, but a lot of people say, "Hey, the Giants, look what Arizona did." But I don't see
it's the journey, though.
Yeah,
It's
and now I do think.
Come on, look at the crowds in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, it's great.
39,000, and tonight is Paul Skeen's night in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
He's up against Lance Lynn tonight, I think.
Yeah, let's say Lewis. I'll say this: if the Giants make the playoffs, it's a big if, they will be a force because that means their pitching got hot.
Well, that means they're not only that, but their hitting got hot.
Yeah, their hitting got hot, but
that's the deal. If they get in, all these things, somebody got crazy.
Yeah, they get in though, and those pitchers are pitching well. I'm talking Webb, Snell, Ray, Cobb, maybe Harrison. You're probably going to go with 4 in the first series. You're only going to go with 3. It's a 3-game set. But they could win 2 of 3 with Webb and Snell.
Yeah, but you got to have the team to get there.
Right, that's the problem.
You got to have the defense and the team with home runs. 40% of all the runs that teams score come on home runs. And the Giants now, they're sliding down in home runs. They're not hitting a lot of home runs lately.
Yeah.
So, if they got in, that would mean that Bailey had a great last 60 games, and Wade and all these people we're talking about, they all really came through and somebody carried them.
Yeah.
Or Farhan went out and made a couple of trades for players, fortifying the bullpen, because there are going to be a lot of close games.
Yeah, give me 2 moves that you think would help the Giants. I'm talking about bringing in, not so much going out, but whatever they could bring in. What are 2 players that you think could push the Giants over the top?
Oh, I like this Lane Thomas from Washington.
Okay.
The outfielder. He gives you a lot of speed, and he's a good outfielder too. And I think Washington, they have the Dylan Cruz coming up.
Yes.
And Wood is here now. I think that's Thomas, to me, is a guy who could be available from Washington.
Okay.
I think that's a possibility. And the other one, if Washington really wanted to start making moves, is Finnegan.
Okay, the closer. Okay.
Right. So if you want to make a deal with Washington, if you could get those 2, boy, the bullpen would look a lot different.
Yeah.
If you had Hicks and Finnegan in there with, let's say you had to give up a Duvall and Wisenhunt and Luciano and a couple other people. But if you brought in that outfielder and Finnegan, I'd feel a lot better about things with
Okay.
that. So those are two that come to mind.
Okay.
The Tommy Pham, to me, okay, but see, I don't think Farhan wants a rental.
Yeah,
Uh,
he shouldn't. He shouldn't. And I hope he
he's
doesn't.
a player.
I hope he doesn't trade Luciano unless it's for a star impact type player that's controllable beyond
Well,
this.
who's Luciano? How are you going to have that kind of
Yeah,
leverage?
Luciano doesn't have the value he once
He's starting to
did.
hit now, though, at Sacramento.
Yeah,
He's starting to
I
hit.
would not give up on Marco Luciano
No,
because
I wouldn't want to.
yeah,
I say bring him up now.
I wish they'd
I
play him.
say
You're right.
send Flores out now and make Luciano the Flores. I
Yes.
would do that. I mean, I think that goes without saying, and
It,
I think they're going to do that.
it's interesting because one of the things I've said on my show is that I think the Giants are making a mistake down in the minors and not giving reps to Marco at first base, because that is a position that you can plug him in. And, he's a shortstop, so he's got the athleticism to be able to handle first base. Heck, Bryce Harper's doing it. He's actually turned into a pretty good defensive first baseman. I think Luciano could learn it over the course of the month or so he's been down there, and then, fine tune it in the off season. You don't have a first baseman. You don't. And why not make a guy with a bat your first baseman?
Sure. No quarrel with that. I said about Luciano, similar thing about Fitzgerald. Fitzgerald has that speed and power. Wotus told us this last year. I said, well, who looks good at Sacramento? Last year, he told me Fitzgerald is the guy. He can have 20 homers, 20 stolen bases, and he's doing it. And the kid just has to learn a little bit. But Luciano's in that category. I say the bat plays. That's been my phrase with him. And I've said it last year. I've said it this year. The bat plays for me in the big leagues. He's like Ramos. Just give him a chance. Ramos worries me, though. I mean, I love what he's doing. But boy, to do it for another couple of months after the league catches up with you.
Yeah, it's going to be tough.
It's the old story. You go around the league once, you got to go around again. And once the league kind of figures something out, boy, you've got to be different. And
I like his tools. I like his attitude. It's going to be tough.
Slider away, fastball.
Yeah. The fastball up is getting him right now.
Up with the letters. And
he's going to have to adjust.
Another one. What do you don't forget, we've got Soler in the mix here.
Yeah.
With everything I'm talking about with the hitting, if he's the kind of guy, if he can ever get hot, this is a guy for 2 months. We're only talking about 60 games now. We're not talking about a whole season.
We're talking 2020 LA Dodgers championship.
Yeah. No, Soler, there've been disappointments on the offensive side. Estrada's a disappointment. The shortstop thing has been a disaster all year. Chapman, is okay. But Conforto's been a disaster. Lee became a disaster. Soler's a disaster. They've got Flores is now a disaster.
Yeah, that was a tough one because
disaster.
I said the Giants last year at the deadline, trade Wilmer Flores. His value's at his all-time high. Yep. It's never going to get higher. Trade, buy low, sell high, everybody. And
Stremski too should go.
Yeah, they really should.
Value, but he's another guy. He's in the semi-disaster category. He's a good defender, but
great outfielder.
But he's always ahead in the count. He's always 3-1, 2-1, 2-2, 3-1. Then they come back with 2 pitches, and he ends up popping up or
striking out. Here's a thought with the Giants.
That's the problem, Danny. It's the offense.
Yeah, it is.
That's really the problem, because the pitching, I'm telling you, they have the pitching.
Correct. They do. They have to get healthy. How do you like this, Marty? Playing Ramos, Fitzgerald, Luciano, and Matos. There's 4 guys right there that have the potential to be 2020 guys. 4 of them.
Well, take Matos out of the equation.
I think Matos could if he got to play. The problem with Matos, they don't let him play.
No. He's gotten to play, and the league has caught up with him, and
I'm not gonna. Yeah, I want to give him more shot. I want to give him. Let me see.
22. He's only. He's still got
Yeah.
growth. He's going to grow more. I'm not writing him off.
Yeah.
But I'm putting him in Sacramento and leaving.
Yeah, I think he should be in Sacramento because you cannot put a 22-year-old who is in a platoon situation when the league is 70% right-handed pitching. You cannot have a 22-year-old who's one of your top prospects getting 5 at-bats a week. It's just put him in Sacramento.
He had the tremendous week.
Yeah.
10 days. It was tremendous. But that's it. And yeah, so I'm with you. But to me, he's 22.
Yeah.
If you traded for him, I'd say, all right, let's give him a chance. His defense killed him last night, and his defense has not been good in the outfield. And when I saw him in the fall league, he was a great defender.
Yeah.
But
I remember seeing him out there too.
Has not translated in the big leagues.
Does he look to you like he's maybe feels like he's not totally buying into the fact that they're going to, like, the confidence level? He had that great week where he won Player of the Week, and then he struggled and he got sent down. Then he gets called up and he basically sits. I got to believe he must be thinking, what value am I? How do you see me? Am I an everyday player, or am I just, it just doesn't make sense the way they're handling him. I get it if he's 27. He's 22. He should be either playing it all the time at San Francisco or send him down.
Well, he was going to play more, but he's as I said, 3 for 40. So it's cut into the confidence that the team.
Yeah.
So I would have him in Sacramento. Look, they've only got another month in Sacramento before that season's over. We're getting to the end of the season here. And don't forget about Jelly. Jelly's another guy who's had a good year for the Giants.
He's fatigued too.
He's had a good year. Keep them in the 4th, 5th, 6th inning and leave them there. And then you need someone in the Jackson spot, and you got to take the pressure off of Walker.
Correct.
You cannot put Walker in to face 3 lefties, and they love Walker in the 7th inning. But if it's lefties coming up, you got to have Rogers or Miller in there.
Yeah, you got to go by situation, not just
his ball's coming into a lefty.
Right. It's just coming right into Freeman and Ohtani.
He's terrific, but you got to be careful.
Let's address the elephant in the room that is kind of been hanging over the Bay Area for the last year or so, maybe longer, with Farhan. Does he have a job if they don't make the playoffs this year? Is he back for 25?
Yeah, I think so.
Do you?
Yeah. And look, JD was on the radio last night, and it was very good. He even had a caller, and someone said something that resonated with me. They put together the team like it's out of the transfer portal.
Yes, that's a good point. College transfer portal.
And all of a sudden at the end, out of the transfer portal, they just grabbed a few players and said, okay, here's our team. But it takes time to communicate and get a team that learns how to play together. And I love his moves. But I wish those are moves he made in November or December. And I think he knows that too, that he learned a real lesson, a tough lesson. You can't build this team in spring training.
Right.
You can't do it. But he did his best to put a team on the field. The crowds are back, over 30,000 just about every game. So it's been a successful financial season for them. That's why they can't throw the towel in. They can't rebuild. They can't do that. This is San Francisco. You don't do that.
Yeah, but the sad thing I would say to the ownership, if they're listening at all, is this: you got to choose a lane at some point. You cannot continue to throw out a club that looks like middle of the pack every year. Why do certain teams, the Orioles are on the up. We saw the Astros have their run. We
Yeah,
saw,
those teams went through 2 or 3 years of losing
yeah,
100.
but the Giants won't do that. And so this mid-level stuff of 80 wins, 83 wins, 79 losses, 79 and 83 last year, 81 and 81 the year before, this revolving players, you can't continue to do this and expect to. You're not going to be the worst, and you're not going to be near the top. You're just going to be middle of the road, and you're hoping that somehow things fall your way and you get into the playoffs with 84, 85 wins. That's not the Brian Sabian method that we saw from 97 to 2016.
The world has changed too. Look, Lincecum, Bumgarner, Matt Cain, Vogelsong, Jonathan Sanchez, the core four.
Yeah.
The pitching was fabulous. Freddie Sanchez and Uribe Renteria and Sandoval, Belt, Posey, Crawford, Pagan, Cody Ross, Penn. I mean, these were World Series players.
Yes.
They perform like it. We don't have that here. And he's
But why?
Because the game has changed. The
guys,
but
other teams haven't though.
But the guys I talked to, they brought in guys like that who were older, and the game was still an older game then.
True.
The game has turned into a younger, home run hitting, speed, 97. Everyone throws 97 to 100. You probably don't bring up a Romo today. I mean, Tyler Rogers isn't much of a stretch. So the game has changed. The Giants could do it in 08, 09, up to 10, and they created that team. But today, boy, you got to have the Ramoses. They've got to make it. You've got to have the Eldridges make it. You've got to have Tibbs make it. And you can't have them make it in 5 years. You got to make it in 2 years.
Right. You're going to have these kids make it, and the young shortstop that out of Colorado they drafted. He's down here in the fall Arizona League right now. What was that?
Martin.
Yeah, Walker Martin. There you go. Thank you. Yeah, he's got to make it. He's a second round pick.
That's what's going to turn this around. Now Sam Hughes is here. He's a cross checker, and that's Gary Hughes' son. Gary was the great scout, the legend we called him. Sam has been very successful with the Cubs and the Yankees, and now he's here working. He's one of the best scouts around. And I saw him before the draft on Saturday, before the draft. And I said, just start drafting outfielders who are athletes. That's all I said to him, and not that I know anything, but I said, in reading, this Tibbs guy looks like, he may be there for you. And that is who they pick. So maybe they got an athlete at FSU who can play, who is maybe 2 years, one in the minors and then up to the big leagues, like we see. That's what they have to do. You can't miss with these players.
And they took a stab at that kid out of Mississippi State with their 4th round selection that has the enormous power and potential.
He won the Ferris Award.
Yeah, they were saying that he was close to 80 in power and speed, which is
his
incredible combination.
His swing's a little funny.
Yeah, that's why he went to the 4th round.
But he won the Ferris Award, and the Giants, that's for Boo Ferris, who was this great player out of Mississippi for the Red Sox in the mid-40s. And it's given to the player in Mississippi who's the best player, so to speak.
Yeah.
And Chris Stratton won it. He was a Ferris Award winner.
Okay, that's right, Chris Stratton.
And this kid won it. So, it says something about him.
Yeah. So
that's the deal. I would move, in summary, I would move Duvall now.
Okay.
I would move Duvall now and try to get something like what I said, the outfielder, another relief arm. I'd put Hicks in the bullpen now. I would not wait around.
8th inning or your closer?
8th inning.
Okay.
8th inning right now. He is the guy. I would get Jackson off the team and pick up another right-handed reliever if you can get a Finnegan or something like that. And then I like the committee to close. It's fine. They got enough guys who can get people out.
Yeah.
And that's fine. And so that's what I would do. But they're in it. They have this pitching last. They should have won that game last night. Snell
Yeah.
gave them a great game.
Yeah, Blake
And
Snell
look,
looks
maybe Hicks will give him a great game tonight, and then Ray tomorrow, and here we go. And then Harrison, and then Webb again, and Birdsong.
yeah, I
They
think Birdsong pitches in this.
they
They
got
bring him back up for the Saturday doubleheader, one of those
yeah,
games, I think.
they
Yeah.
will. Yeah, and
Then they'll go right back down.
well, probably, and you
Yeah.
know, I don't know how they're going to maneuver the roster. Who knows? He does something every day.
Yeah, they get that extra man for the doubleheader, I think.
Seventh man, yeah.
Yeah.
But they've got the pitching. Now they got to get the offense going.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing. I don't foresee the
Not making
offense.
mistakes. I mean,
Yeah.
Soler, getting thrown out of third with nobody out.
Yeah.
All right, it's not the end of the world. It's the first inning, so you take a shot at it.
Yeah. Their September schedule is pretty brutal too.
Oh, September. Have you seen it?
Yeah. I got it. Let me pull it up right here. The September schedule is
Yeah, I got it. There you go. Can you see mine?
oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, they got they're at home with Arizona to start and then on the road to 3 in San Diego, 3 at home against Milwaukee and San Diego at home, and then
every team is in it.
Yeah, then Baltimore and Kansas City, on to Arizona, and then the final 3. Brandon Crawford comes home. They finish with St. Louis.
Yeah, every team is in it.
Yeah, their softest schedule is really they're in the middle of it right now. I mean, this series with the Dodgers is tough.
My point. Don't wait around.
Yeah,
make the moves now. These are the games you have to win. And I said this on the weekend. Don't wait. Don't say, "Oh, let's see how they do in these next 7 games," and because they're not going to be that far away, no matter what they do. And we're going to be having this conversation in September.
Correct. You give, as they say, you can't win a pennant in April, but you sure can lose it.
Well,
and they have squandered so many games by just not bringing in certain guys. Their best stretch of the year, and I know Luciano struggled a little bit at shortstop for a few games, but that team looked different. It looked more energetic. It had Matos, Ramos, and Luciano. They went 8-1.
In the league, caught up with
everybody. Caught up, but
it's okay. Your guys have to. The guys who are getting paid have got to produce over the summer where we are now. The dog days, young legs. The young players have to help you because the veterans are getting tired. Young legs. Then in September, the veterans take over. Conforto, Soler, Chapman.
Yeah. Now, are you back up in the city over the weekend with the Colorado series?
No, I won't be up until August.
Okay, till August. Okay, all right. So, we got these 6 remaining. Let's see, 7 remaining games. We're just shortly away from tonight's ball game, and we're looking at, again, we talked about Hicks going against the Dodgers and Knack. You got to win 2 of these next 3. You can't go 1-3 and come home 6 games under 500.
No, you really can't. You should take all. You should win 4 against Colorado.
You should. I mean, I think they have a good shot at winning 3 against Colorado at home.
You take 2 or 3 against the Dodgers and 3-1 against Colorado. That's 5-2, and all of a sudden now your record is 53-55, and you haven't lost much ground. You probably gotten closer to everybody.
That 53. When you said 53-55, that's stamped in my brain. I was camping in 1987 with some friends, and the Giants had a 4-game series with the Cincinnati Reds at home. They were 53-55. They trailed the Reds by 4 or 5 games, I think. They swept them, and they went on to win 90 or 91 games. I can't remember what it was, but they won the division in 87.
That's
all
right.
from 53 and 55. They got super hot. They made some, but if you remember that season, Bob Quinn made some great deals at the trade deadline or even before. He didn't sit around. That was the big year. That was that big 7-player blockbuster with Dave Dravecky and Kevin Mitchell and Craig Lefferts coming to the Giants and Chris Brown and
Mark Grant and Mark
Grant and yeah, some of those guys going to the Padres. But it wasn't just that trade. It was a few more. It was Rick Russell coming in. It was Bedrosian. He remade that team. I want to see some of that boldness happen with the Giants.
So the Giants have claimed outfielder Derek Hill from Texas. He's, as Alex Pavlovich says, he hits right-handed, a spot currently occupied by Luis Matos. He was recently DFA'd by the Rangers. Derek Hill is now a member of the Giants. So that's kind of what I said. You know, they need that right-handed bat. Now, who is Derek Hill? That's a good question. Do you know anything about him?
Let me pull him up here. Derek Hill, and he was with Texas.
Yep. And he is, as we're talking, he's 28. He's got a year service time. And this year at Texas, 16 games, 45 plate appearances, 43 at bats, 11 hits.
I got it right up there now on the screen.
Oh, you got it. Okay.
Okay, so that's his 24 season. On base of only 289. That's not very good.
Got a couple runs.
Let's take a look at his career, what he's got. Okay, so he spent last year with Washington, got 47 at bats, hit 170. The year before he was with Detroit, 83 at bats, hit 229. Really not much power. He's got a lifetime in 5 years of 349 plate appearances, 323 at bats, 75 hits, 7 home runs, struck out almost a third of the time, 101 times, 232 batting average. Kind of sounds like a Farhan special to me.
Exactly. And Farhan and I talked about it, said, you know, you can't really do window dressing. If you're going to make a move, you got to make a move. So who knows what they're thinking about. But this is probably in Matos' spot. I assume Matos will be sent out.
Sounds like it. But
it's
it's just, you know, I asked this question of my chat the last couple nights. And this is, you know, I think Farhan's a wonderful man. Seems like a really nice guy. I just haven't been impressed with the job he's done as a president of baseball operations.
And Bill Parcells said it. You are what your record is.
Yeah.
So leave it at that. His record is what it is.
So my question is, name one impact player that he's traded for or even drafted. I mean, Bailey's good, but one guy that you just go, wow, we got ourselves a future star player and a perennial all-star. Who's that one player in 5.5 years that has come up that who's that Ellie De La Cruz? Who's that Ronald Acuna? Who's that, even a Riley Green for Detroit? I mean, he's not spectacular, but we don't even have anything of that level. And the guy that was our best player, Farhan, basically looked like he just wanted to move off of him in Elliot Ramos. He was the first guy sent down in spring training. And yet, how does a guy that's in charge of baseball operations not recognize at least the tools and give him a chance? I'm not saying we said Ramos deserves a chance. We don't know if he's going to make it, but he's got the tools. He looks like Willie Mays. Play the kid and see what he's got. And we're not saying he's Willie Mays. He's never going to be that, but he has the tools. He has the makeup. I mean, Elliot Ramos to me has the closest thing on the Giants to 5 complete tools.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
Yeah.
You know,
And yet they were not even going to play him. He wouldn't have. He would have never been an all-star this year if it wasn't for the injuries to
they
Lee and
made, Farhan
Slater.
is in the gap. They made the change from Brian Sabian to the modern world, and he was the choice to do it. It wasn't wrong to make that choice to get into the modern world. They did it, and it just has not worked out great. And this year, it looked like it'd be a little bit better, and there's been some tough baseball things happen and guys have not achieved. But it is July,
Yeah.
and who knows? As I
Hey,
said, you got to pitch, and they have a rotation. They got a bullpen. Now is the time to step up and do the things you just said. Be bold. Do something now that creates a little bit of excitement for your ball club, and see if you can't make it happen. Let's
yeah.
see. Let's see.
Yeah.
I would not wait around. That's my point. Do not wait around.
And if it's a 53 and 55, if they get to that
Well,
record was stamped in my brain in 1987
that's
as a
2/3 of the season. That's
yeah.
108 games is 2/3.
Yeah, 53
So
and 55. I was just
you,
shy of turning
you'd like to have
37.
you'd like to have 58 wins.
Yeah,
by that point, it's not going to happen. But you'd like to get in those high 50s at the 2/3 mark.
right,
54 would just be playing 500. And
right.
and it doesn't look like they're going to get to 54 at the 108 mark.
Yes.
They got a long way to go, but it's fun. They pitch. That game last night, you're on the edge of your seat, and a couple of bad plays. Glenn Kuiper said this on the show. Watch the defense. There's always one defensive play that determines a game, good or bad. And Fitzgerald made the great play up the middle. They saved the game at that point. But then, Rodriguez gave up the base hit, and that was that.
Yeah. They play these tight games a lot with the Dodgers. It'll be interesting tonight.
Yes.
And
it always is.
Yeah. Well, Marty, it's been great having you. We're going to have to get you possibly back on maybe right before the trade deadline and see if maybe we'll have something to talk about that maybe the Giants Farhan will have made a move. Today's Tuesday, so the deadline's a week from today. Well, the deadline's over a week from today.
Well, Derek Hill. Just the beginning.
Just the beginning. Somebody's going to make a move today or tomorrow that's going to.
I like Finnegan. They get Finnegan.
Somebody's going to make a move, though, in Major League Baseball that's going to preempt this stalemate of waiting till the day of the deadline when a lot of things happen. I don't know if it's Andropoulos at Atlanta. If he makes a move, I think, a good shot would be for Atlanta. I think a good trade would be to make a move for a Michael Conforto or a Yaz or something along those lines, because they need an outfielder. They've lost so many guys, and maybe Estrada. Maybe Estrada's a candidate with Albies going out.
Sure. I think you're right.
Maybe you can get something there.
Cardinals 1-0 on the Pirates in the bottom of the 7th. Cardinals have 2 hits, one of which is an Arenado home run. So they're 1-0 on Skeens.
Wow.
In the bottom of the 7th. The Marlins beating the Orioles. Padres 3-0 on the Nationals, which is probably good because the Nationals will, be forced to sell.
Right.
The Yankees 1-0 on the Mets at the end of 4. Phillies, Twins, no score. Rangers 2-0 on the White Sox. Diamondbacks 1-0 on the Royals in the first. So that's what we got on the scoreboard so far. So it's like this every night. One night it's the Cardinals, the Cubs. This is crazy, but it's going to keep your interest. Well, while Larry Krueger is screaming about Brock Purdy and Ayuk, we're going to have this wild pennant race all the way.
There we go. There we go. Well, it's been great having you tonight. I know we're just coming on before the game, and so this was pre-recorded. Um,
When are you going to play?
final thought
When are you
on
going to play
tonight's.
this, Dan?
What's that?
What time is this on?
10 o'clock.
This will be on at 10 o'clock. Okay.
10 o'clock.
All right.
So,
All right. All right. Let's enjoy the game.
yeah, I'm hoping the Giants win, but I'm picking these guys. Just based on what I've been watching, and the Dodgers seem to get in this groove at least once a year where they have a homestand where they almost go undefeated.
Well, up and down.
Yeah.
That's the season, up and down. Giants are, at that point now, they're win, lose, win, lose, win, lose. Maybe they'll string three together. Get some good pitching. Just get out of LA with a split, and then take your 3 out of 4 from Colorado, split with the A's, and move on.
There we go. There we go. And that would be the recipe for success moving forward.
Stay in the thing.
Yeah, it would be fun if they start playing well. I would love to see them start playing well. I just don't want to see a season that ends at 82 and 80 and they fall short again, and we bring it back and do the same, run it back in 25 with the same thing.
They got a rotation coming back next year.
Yeah.
Have this year. The rotation coming out of spring training was not.
The only problem I see, though, is if Snell has a great second half and has Cy Young type second half that he has, if he pitches like he has the last few games, he's going to opt out because he's going to be so valued because people are going to see.
But look, he came off the Cy Young and nobody wanted him.
Well, I think.
How about now? Yeah. He comes off this thing. Who's going to invest $100 million in him?
Yeah, I think you would if 3 years, maybe.
He may be able to get 2 at 50, like he'll get an extra year.
Yeah.
Instead of just having 30 in the bank, he'll have like, an extra 25 or 30 for the next year. But same thing with Chapman. These guys couldn't get contracts last year.
True. That's why they may opt in, because they don't want to get set out on the side. They don't want to get Brandon belted.
This rotation, if this stays the way it is, and it goes into next year with this rotation and this bullpen, I like it.
Okay, good. We'll end on a good note, positive note.
I like it.
Thank you, Marty. Great to have you.
All right.
We'll be back after this was, again, pre-recorded. We'll be back tomorrow night after the Giants-Dodgers Game 3 with tomorrow night will be the debut of Robbie Ray. And so that'll be exciting. So we'll be back to talk about that tomorrow night, right after the Giants-Dodgers Game 3. Everybody, have a great night. Thanks for joining. We'll see you tomorrow night.